Okay, well, just want to say welcome to the primary parent session on philosophy for children and how we utilize philosophy for children to develop students' thinking and communication skills. Alison Albighini, my colleague, who has been trained as a philosophy for children person, who is our leader of learning for learning support, and myself will be presenting this session. So we're going to start the session by asking you to add some of your thoughts into the chat box, or to even just say out loud, what does philosophy mean to you? So when I say philosophy, what do you think of? We need to allow somebody into the, can you admit them? Okay. So Marwa, what does philosophy mean to you?
Philosophy is questioning things
Okay.
around us, asking questions, wondering, not necessarily accepting the first things that are said to us or things that we see and we feel and we hear.
Great. Salma, what does philosophy mean to you?
I think making choices, making the right choice, making hard decisions, and calculating it and thinking about it, and making rational choices, I guess.
Great. Would anyone else like to share what comes to mind when we say the word philosophy?
I think for me, it's like giving children the opportunity of just saying what they're feeling, what they're thinking, their understanding. There's no real right or wrong answer. It's more their interpretation. But they give the reasoning for why they came up with that suggestion or decision.
Great, thank you. Okay, we wanted to start the session by giving you a little bit of a summary, but also like talking a bit about the connection between philosophy for children and how it's connected to the primary years program, which is the program that we teach at ISL Qatar. Philosophy for Children is a program that we're adapting and adopting to our school. We've been working on this for the last 2 years. It is a program that we have had teachers, some of the teachers in our school, they have received training. It is also a program that we're bringing into the secondary. So it begins in EC1 and it's working its way all the way up to grade 8. So it is something that we have decided would be a very good, a very useful addition to what we already have in our school. So if we think about the benefits of philosophy for children and how it's connected to PYP, these are some of the some examples of how they are connected to each other and why we think it's important. And as you can see in these little rectangles, we've got some ideas here, like that it opens children's learning. They're able to explore different ideas. As Alison said, there is not always a right answer, and that all ideas are valued and that there are different perspectives. Students are able to develop confidence in asking questions and learning through having a discussion or even a dialogue. Children are all given a voice. They're all given an opportunity to share, and they have a chance to flourish as confident communicators. Also, it develops intelligence, logical reasoning, critical thinking, and develops respect for others. Another thing that philosophy for children enhances and encourages is a chance to speak and be heard without being afraid to give the wrong answer. All learners and teachers are included in this, have the opportunity to have genuine, authentic inquiries about questions that are related to life. questions that are related to who we are as human beings, fundamental questions. It raises children's self-esteem and their sense of responsibility, and it allows children an opportunity to think outside the box and to celebrate other people's ideas. So to break it down into the different kinds of thinking that P4C develops, it basically develops 4 kinds of thinking: caring thinking, looking, considering, and respecting other people and their interests; creative thinking, so introducing new thoughts and building on those of others; critical thinking, the ability to justify and evaluate your ideas and provide evidence and backup for what you are presenting as your perspective or your position on something; and collaborative thinking, so working constructively with the rest of the group. Alison is going to take us through now this slide talking about the structure of a typical P4C session, and then she's going to follow through with getting us to try it out. Thank you, Alison.
Thanks, Rola. So let me explain to you what a typical lesson would look like. So the children normally sit in a circle. We normally play a warm-up game. The warm-up game would be playing with a toy or a stick where it just goes around the circle and they all have an idea of playing. Could be something like they need to name something they're going to take camping that starts with the beginning of their name. So it's just a warm-up just to get them comfortable and feeling safe in an environment so that they can participate. Then we offer them a stimulus. The stimulus would be could be a video, a book, it could be maybe just a statement. It can be anything really, and that gets them their brains functioning, and it gets them to think about how they feel about it. And then we have the time when we think, pair, share. Depending on the topic, you might just put them into 2s, or you may actually put them in groups of 4. Once they've done that, they bring their ideas back to the circle, and then you would have question time. That would be where the children would formulate a question regarding the stimulus, what they want to know. And then for me, I quite like putting a question, the questions that they all came up with, on each side of the wall. And then the children, I get them to vote with their feet and say, right, move to the question that you would like to be asked today and have answered. The person who came up with a question will be the one that actually starts the inquiry. When their children want to speak, they use hand signals. This is part of the fun part. I think kids get really excited at the beginning when they have to do signals. So some of the signals would be you can add on, move forward, going back, I disagree, or I agree. Because it's okay during a stimulus and questioning time to not agree with someone and do it in a polite manner and share with everybody your thoughts. And then everyone else can have a turn of saying if they agree or disagree as well. Yeah, and then you go on to the reflection part, and that's it. So maybe the next slide, Miss Rolla. So let's have a go.
Okay, so I'm going to play a video now. And Alison, what should we be doing? Just watching?
Just watching and enjoying it. And then maybe we'll share our feelings about the video once we've finished.
Thank you.
think I've seen that video that many times and I still laugh and smile at it every time. It's just so silly. Okay, so now it's your turn. After watching that video, what is your thinking? Who would like to share maybe some thoughts about what they thought the video was about? No one? Come on, Yoris, help me out here. What were you thinking when you saw the video? I'm putting you on the spot here.
Yes. Thank you, Alison.
You're welcome.
I'd expect nothing less. What was I thinking? To be honest with you, I only joined it until the last 2 minutes. So all I saw was some big animal jumping in between a bunch of little ones on an electrical wire. I assume that was an electrical wire, and then fell off, and then something else happened, and then I've not had the chance to think about your question, so I don't know.
Okay. Maybe easier then if I just share some of the questions perhaps that the students have come up with in the classes that I've actually done this in. So let's just do that. So I've got 5 questions here that the students came up with. First one was, why were the little birds laughing at the big bird? Where are the other big birds? So one child actually brought up the word extinction. So like thought maybe that was the last big blue bird that was left in society and it was all alone and the little birds were making fun of it because it was lonely. Why was the big bird nice at the end, even though those little blue birds were very mean? That was a really deep one that the children came up with. And is the big bird lonely? Is that why he came and flew over and landed on it? So a lot of the conversations come up with, you know, they usually say the big bird was just trying to make friends and they just wanted to have fun. Does anyone else want to add to that or had their own questions perhaps? Very quiet today.
I think for me, what is interesting from the questions you just posed, Alison, is that although this is a cartoon and it is very silly, like you said, and it is quite funny, and you could just watch it and laugh and think, what a funny cartoon. What the students have come up with those questions is these questions are very philosophical. So from a very short 2-minute video, they have been able to derive a lot of deep thinking about, you know, being different, about, you know, working, you know, existing as a community in a group where everybody looks the same, and then having somebody come and join who looks very different, acceptance and you know, rejection, you know, being an endangered species. Like there's so many deep ideas and you know, deep thinking that can come out from something as simple as a 2-minute video like that. And I think that is that's very typical of philosophy for children in terms of, you know, creating these kinds of provocations, you know, where you use a video or an image, and through the kinds of questions that you raise with the students and how you present something, you can get them to think deeply about something.
Yeah. I think this might be a nice opportunity to share what happened in the EC1 classroom. So I've only ever done this one in the grades 1 above, and it's quite interesting that their depth of questioning. But I asked Miss Selma if I could actually join her classroom just to show the little children what the birds was all about, to see what they were thinking when they saw it. And it was so different. It was so sweet, so innocent. But they said that the little birds were the babies and the big bird was the mummy. And the mummy had woken up the babies, and the babies were very angry and started picking at mummy's feet. And then they realized they did something wrong. But the conversation that actually started through that dialogue was incredible. So one little boy, he said that my nanny did that to me. She woke me up. And I said, oh, so did you pick the nanny's feet? And he said, no, but I did tell the nanny that I was very annoyed. And I said, oh, and what did the nanny do? Oh, she said, sorry. And I went, oh, and then another child said, maybe that's what the little bluebird should have done. So it was a learning on its own at their level of thinking. And it was just interesting how the perception from like EC1 to grade 1 and 2 was so different. Their thinking, you know, experiences maybe perhaps at school change their thoughts.
Mm-hmm. And there is no right answer, is there? I mean, these are kinds of conversations where you have different perspectives, and there is not one right answer. You really need to listen to each other and accept the different versions and different interpretations.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so this is briefly reflects on everything that we talked about. Philosophy for children, as it's called. It's an inquiry-based pedagogy where students take the lead and the teachers will facilitate the lesson. So they're only a small part of the role. It's applicable across all school age ranges. I think Ms. Ruler mentioned it starts right from EC1 and then it goes right through to the secondary. And then, of course, when we get closer to the DP years, it turns into TOK, which is knowledge of thinking, which is even a higher thinking again. It teaches how to teach through dialogue, facilitates student-led inquiries, and gets to help them to get to know the students better. It also helps the students to think independently, reason effectively, communicate persuasively, and explores their values. The students have a strong way in the content of a lesson and a safe space to discuss their views on the wide range of topics. And I think the most important thing is P4C is fun, and both the students and the teachers enjoy it. And then we have what you guys can do at home, philosophy at home and beyond. So I think it's really important that at the end of the school day, if your child has had a session at school, it's a really good opportunity for you to talk about it, get them to open up and reflect and share with you. And I think, like the students, be confident that you don't always know the answer and research together. Give them opportunities to talk about appropriate big issues, and you get those big issues and those questions from watching TV, sometimes the news, if it's appropriate enough, obviously. Using open-end questions. Why did you think that? Why did you decide that? What made you choose that? What were you thinking? And then on the next slide, we have some resources that you can go to that will help you further with finding stimulus if you want to do something like this at home. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Is there any questions? Okay, I just take it that we did a really good job and everyone understood everything.
So I guess what we would like
sorry,
to
can I ask
go,
a question?
Salma. Yes.
So if, let's say, they had, so today we were talking about flowers and what kind of, because they said flowers, you can't eat flowers. And I said, well, who said you can't eat flowers? And then one of the children changed his mind and said, yeah, you can. Can you research there and then, you know, with them? Or because I told him, why didn't you research? Because we were running out of time anyway. But I said, do you want to research at home? And then I'll, you know, so do you think it's more effective that we research there and then, or is it better for them to go home and then research it there independently, you know?
I like the idea that a child will go home and actually involve their parents and actually get the whole family thinking about it. So there's no wrong answer. I mean, at school or at home is both fine, but I do like the idea of getting the family, you know, mum and dad involved in the questioning.
Okay, thank you.
But I think that's why I like philosophy for children. You know, there's really no right way or wrong way of delivering a stimulus. I mean, for me, it's always been whatever you feel comfortable, and you just, as long as you've got the stimulus, what happens next? You can't always predict it either. What you think children might be thinking and they're questioning might go absolutely the wrong way. And again, I suppose I shouldn't say the word wrong way, because it just means it goes on a different tangent, and it's also another learning curve. It's quite remarkable.
We've integrated within the Philosophy for Children in our school something that's very much related to it, which is something called thinking moves, because there are, you know, as a teacher, you take a workshop in Philosophy for Children, and then you get the big ideas and you get the big understanding, but it's also important to have strategies and routines that are sort of, you know, applicable, that you can utilize in the classroom and repeat and reuse over and over again. And the more you use them, the deeper you can go with your students in terms of, you know, them thinking more deeply and more critically. So with the thinking moves that the teachers have also been trained in, they have different thinking strategies and also vocabulary that they use, and the students become very, you know, adapted to them, so that then they start practicing them. There's also like a physical expression, almost like sign language, that goes with the terminology. So they have the kinesthetic, they have the terminology, and then they have the connection with an actual way of thinking. So along with that kind of logical, developing that logical reasoning and being able to present a position and be able to argue for it in a logical way, all those kinds of things help the students as they get once they get to grade 11 and 12, and they have to do theory of knowledge, and then they're going to be, you know, they're going to have to utilize those skills. It cuts across all subjects. It can be used in math, it can be used in art, it can be used in any subject. And it really creates it. If you go into a classroom where Philosophy for Children is practiced, the way the students interact with each other is so respectful. You know, their listening skills are enhanced. Their ability to see things from different perspectives is really, really powerful. So we're very happy and excited that we're implementing this in our school, and we will next month. Actually, we have the workshop trainers coming in again to continue the training. It would be great if we could maybe next year maybe do some face-to-face sessions with parents where we can actually try out the Philosophy for Children routines with you as well. I think that would be really great. There is a booklet that comes out quite regularly from the Philosophy for Children Dialogue Works, a group of people, and they have this bulletin where it's all about home talks, it's called. So basically it's things that you can do as a parent to talk about different things, from, you know, having conversations about war, having conversations about community, about family, and they give you really nice ideas for you to apply. So if you're interested, maybe we can also share some of those with you. Yeah, so I think that's basically what we wanted to share. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
I have a question, if that's okay. Yeah.
Yes, please.
I joined a little bit late, so forgive me for that. But I was really interested in, I was looking at your diagram, the little circle, looking at all the different aspects of Philosophy for Children. And I've been doing a little bit of work on persuasive communication, and I noticed that that was one of those aspects. And I just wonder, this might be too difficult a question for this moment, but I'm just thinking about, you talked about rule-out routines and strategies and things that we can do in the classroom that we can go back to time and time again. I'm wondering, are there specific routines and strategies associated with Philosophy for Children when we think about persuasion and persuasive writing and speaking, or are they the same sort of things that we might use anyway in the classroom?
No, I think, Alison, would you like to share anything before? Yeah.
I don't know how to really answer that. All I can say is that there's, we've mentioned there's no right or wrong answer, and we try to encourage the children to be able to open up. And I think what I was going to say earlier as well is what I find is a lot of children that are either English learners or learning support, they feel safe and they know that there's no right or wrong answer, so they feel comfortable in mentioning what they feel and what their answer is. I don't know about the persuasiveness so much, though. I think I'd rather try to keep it more open and allow them just to come out with whatever they want to, what's on their minds and what's thinking. I don't know if Rula, you can take over and answer that a little bit deeper.
Yeah, I mean, there are things like a simple thing as agree, disagree. So you throw out like an idea, maybe a position about something. You know, we shouldn't have, homework should not exist in school. We shouldn't have homework. And then you get the class to, agree or disagree, simply. And you've got students that agree and students that disagree. And then they have to argue their perspective. So they have to argue their point about why they think. So it is a form of persuasion, because they're trying to come up with meaningful, arguments and reasons why they should have homework or why they shouldn't. This kind of also connects with things like visible thinking routines, like tug of war, where you're supposed to, and people have what Alison was saying is important, because the student has the right to change their mind. So if I believe no, we shouldn't have homework, but then you come up with a really strong argument why we should, you might convince me. So I might actually change my mind and say, actually, I've changed my mind. You've convinced me with your argument. You've persuaded me. So that's a very simple routine, because the routines need to be really simple, but they're powerful. Yeah. Okay.
I think actually I wouldn't mind sharing an example with you, Catherine. So one of the lessons I did was, can an elephant be an artist? And you put a line in the middle of the floor, and that's yes on one side, no on the other. And they stand on the line if they haven't made up their mind yet, I need more information. So then I show them a video of a elephant painting. And then I say, is there anyone that wants to move? And they go, no. Then I get them to sit down and I show them all these paintings, and they have to tell me whether it's from an artist or an elephant. And by the end, they have really got it really wrong, that a lot of the work that the elephant did, they classed it as an artist. So when I asked the question again, there was lots of movement. They changed their minds.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay, well, we do have this session recorded, and we will be sharing it with all parents through our bulletin. So hopefully more parents will have a chance to watch it in their own time. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Catherine and Joris, for joining us as well. And we hope you have a really good afternoon. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.